Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us for a morning practice. Thank you for getting up out of bed. So I'm here with the beautiful Sasha, and I'm Emily, if we haven't met before. I think I know most of you by now. So this morning's practice, we are going to be focusing on one of the most important muscles of the body, and that is your psoas muscles, so one of your major hip flexors. So this muscle is one of the most important in the body because let's start with its function. This muscle's basic function is hip flexion. So that is important because every time you sit, this muscle has to contract. And also every time you go to walk or lift a leg, that muscle has to contract. So it's a super important muscle. The other reason why this muscle is really important is not only because it's the only muscle that is really focused on that, it is the only muscle that connects your spine to your legs. So it's the only muscle that runs from the spine. It actually connects to multiple vertebrae through your thoracic and lumbar. It then weaves through organ. It's one of the only muscles that weaves through organ. It then wraps through, down through the stomach, down through the groin, and into the femur, so the top of the thigh bone. So that's a pretty big task to be the only muscle that connects spine to legs. Huge. So I'm going to talk more about why that's important a little later in the practice as well, but there is a huge nervous system connection between this muscle and, yes, the nervous system and the brain. Being the muscle that picks up your legs, it's very important for the fight or flight response. So that's all I'll tell you. We have lots to explore. I'm going to give you variations today so you can keep it simpler, you can go stronger. We are going to start on our backs, Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together. And props, I'm sorry, very important. So, interesting props today. If you don't have them already, it's in the description, but those of you who haven't read the description yet, we will need a ball or a rolling pin. So if you have something like that, that would be wonderful. Sasha has a specialty massage ball, tennis ball, any small ball will do. Rolling pin does the trick just as well. And if you're freaking out because you don't have either of those things in your house, don't worry, I will find an alternative for you, an alternative movement. So on your backs, when you're ready, some of you are still hunting for props. If you do have a big fat blanket or some blocks as well, that would be fantastic. Have a beautiful practice. So as you come onto your back, as we allow the knees to open up and the groin to stretch, and this already starts to tap in to our hip flexors and specifically our psoas. I want you to take a big breath in through your nose. Sigh out through your mouth. 2 more, inhale. Let it go. And once more in. Release. And now I want you to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And as you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, just allowing that breath to reach a little deeper down into the low lungs. Sasha is so beautifully, instinctively having her hands on her lower belly. And this can be a really nice way to really tap into a deeper breath, what we sometimes call a belly breath. And of course, you can't really breathe into your belly. That's not anatomically possible yet. The apparent rise and fall of your breath in Shavasana, or in any movement really, is an indication that you're really using your low lungs and you're using a breath that will allow you to slip into more relaxation and tap into your parasympathetic nervous system. Rest and digest rather than fight or flight. So just allowing that rise and fall, that deep breath. So the reason why this breath is very important in today's practice is that this muscle that we've been discussing, psoas, the connection point, or one of the connection points into your vertebrae, into your spine, runs up into the part of the brain, the reptilian brain, which manages our fight or flight response. So if you were to see a tiger running toward you, your brain sends a message down into the psoas, contract and run. Because, of course, it's the only muscle that can contract, lift the legs, and send you running. The problem is we don't have a lot of tigers running around society these days. Our tigers are our anxieties, our fears, our worries. In today's practice, there are postures that we can use to lengthen out the muscle, but if we're not breathing and if we're not respecting the limits of the muscle, then we'll find that we'll actually switch on the stress response rather than switching it off. So in today's practice, as we might, if we get times, head toward the splits even, you're going to be very, very gentle because you don't want to trigger more stress response when stretching out this muscle. I want you to take one more big breath. Let it out. Very good. In your own time, you can bring your knees in towards each other. Hug your knees in towards your chest. I want you to just make any moves that feel instinctive. If it feels good to rock or massage the back, just whatever feels good. Really nice. Yeah, Sasha's just giving her lower back a little massage by stirring the knees. Feel free to do anything of the like. I want you from here to now bring the sole of your right foot to the floor and stretch your left leg to the ceiling. And yes, wrapping your hands around the back of the left thigh. And we're going to do a little bit of bending and straightening out of the legs. So you might inhale, bend, the knee, sorry. Yeah, that's it. And exhale, lengthen. So you're just going to pulse back and forth through the hamstrings there. So we're contracting and then extending. Contracting, and you're just going to go your own rhythm to bend and straighten. Perhaps the exhale is the straighten because that's usually a good point in the breath to lengthen out the hamstring muscles. And yeah, then if you want to experiment, if you want to then straighten out the leg, if you want to do a Sasha instinctively at the start and then get into the ankle, I just want you to do whatever feels good for you. Make a little movement that feels nice. So whether you continue with the movement or you're keeping that leg straight and stretched up, deep breaths. Wonderful. We are going to work into a twist from here. So you're going to bend that knee in towards your chest, stretch your leg out as Sasha's done with that right leg. Pull that leg across the body, you rotate. So your left arm reaches out toward the left side of the space, if possible, keeping that shoulder in a nice connection with the floor so you get a nice pull, twist between both parts of the body. Just a couple more breaths. This is just a brief wake up for the torso. Wonderful. When you're ready, bring the leg back through center. Easy switch, left sole of the foot to the floor, right knee bends in. Clasp your hands around the back of your right thigh, and you might work that bend and straighten at the knee, just working that active work back and forth to pulse through the hamstrings. You just want to explore some movement that feels useful. I think it was one of my acting teachers when I was 21 years old that would say things like, go where the pleasure is. And sometimes it is about pleasure, and sometimes it's actually just asking, what is useful? What is helpful? Because what is helpful for my body is not always going to be helpful for yours. You might keep that leg extended out. You might then work through the ankle or just do whatever feels good for you. If you're enjoying the bend and flex, you can keep going with that. If you're enjoying keeping the leg lengthened. And when you're ready, we will twist. So you'll lengthen out your left leg, bend your right, hug it in, and pull that leg across the body. Right shoulder stays perhaps back in connection with the floor. Deep breaths. One more here. Let it go. Well done. Bring the legs back through center. Hug both legs in your own time. We are going to, from here, rock back and forth, and we're going to take a little pause in Navasana. That's a goodie for the hip flexors. I think Sasha knows it too. So some people will find that their core is engaged in such a way, and for most of us this early, it probably won't, but most of us will find that the hip flexors will have to engage a little or a lot to keep us in this position. You can either keep your hands behind your thighs or you can reach the arms out. Beautiful. Take an inhale. Exhale, twist to the right. Beautiful. Inhale through center and exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Center in breath and exhale left. Very good. Inhale back through center. Lovely. Cross the ankles. And we're going to rock over to hands and knees. Sorry, everybody. I should have made that clearer. Once you come over to tabletop, I just want you to allow yourself to just find some movement that feels good. I know you girls, yes, I can see. I think it is all my ladies that are practicing today. Hello. I don't know who's on Facebook though. So I want you to just roll through the spine. You know what you're doing. So as you're just waking up through that back, just noticing any sensation that's apparent. Lovely. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to use that ball or rolling pin or whatever it is you're going to do. And it's going to be in almost like a half frog position. So you want to start with your left leg winging out to the side. So that's it. Sasha's winged out that left leg like she's in half frog. She's got her left forearm turning horizontally on the mat, and she's going to pop that ball or that rolling pin underneath her right hip. So you're going to, from here, just explore rolling movement. So I often tend to move forward and back. Sasha's instinctively here rolling across the muscle, side to side. I know some of you are not going to love this, and I apologize in advance. But it is really one of the muscles that tends to be quite tight. If you find something that's interesting, you might want to stay on it a little longer. If it's too intense to stay paused over a certain point, then just feel free to keep the rolling going. I just want you to be instinctive with what you're working with. Now, for those of you who don't have anything to roll with, I want you to instead work into an early pigeon. So you can stay upright in your pigeon and lengthen through your right hip flexors with your left knee at the top of the mat. Otherwise, we're just going to keep rolling here on this side for a few more breaths. So before our flow today, we're just doing some good mobilization, and rolling is really a wonderful way to do it. Even if you have a foam roller, that will work well. It won't be as pointed into the muscle, but it still will work well. I want you for a moment here to now, when you're ready, slide that left leg back and just move that ball or rolling pin or whatever out for a moment, and just take a moment between sides, just as Sash is doing here, to observe what one side feels like compared to the other. Did you tense up your buttocks a lot during that rolling? It's okay if you did. I just want you to observe what the body did in response to the rolling. For me, I often notice that my butt has tensed up to control the movement, and also because it's uncomfortable. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to wing that right knee out to the side, slide that prop under that left hip, and in your own time, you start to roll. Doesn't matter if you're rolling side to side, back and forth, just finding a way to massage. The other thing I should have flagged is that if this sensation is too intense, I want you to perhaps explore using your ball or using, and in this case, you can use something like a wine bottle. You can actually just roll over the muscle while staying upright. So if it's too intense to lie over it, or if you have a delicate prop like a wine bottle, you want to be careful with that, then you can stay upright. And just noticing if this side feels a little different to the other. all much the same. This will put us in good stead for the sequence we're doing today. And just a couple more breaths. Maybe you found spots to stay still on during those breaths. And if you need more time there, please take it. Or whenever you are ready, that prop can move out to the side and you'll just take another moment, this time perhaps in a Sphinx pose. So as you can see, Sasha's already there, forearms on the floor, getting a little bit of compression in that low back, and just noticing any response from the glutes, the feet, and the neck is relaxed. In your own time, that prop will go to the side, a wide knee child's pose in your own time. So as you calm back, lengthen those arms forward. From here, we'll start to move things a little more and get you all warm, but we just needed that time to get into some mobility. As you come back into this deep flexion in your hips, do you find that this is a really natural, instinctive, comfortable place? No tightness, it feels like a rest. Or do you find that there is quite a lot of squeezing around your hips or in your knees or your ankles and feet? Just observe. There is no right answer. Tightness is sometimes very helpful. When you're ready, down dog is the destination. I want you to take your time. We need to start getting things a bit more moving and woken up. So you might want to pedal out your feet, make any movement that feels good for you. So whether it's going from one foot to the other, if you want an extra stretch for the calves, of course, you can hook one ankle around behind the other if you want, just doing whatever feels good. Sasha's doing that as a beautiful example, hooking the bent leg around the straight leg. And you might switch over. So we're going to do a little bit of rolling or convoluted dog to wake up through the core, the arms, ripple forward on your inhale, knees bend, bottom back. And in your own time, 3 more this direction, forward, bend, and back. That's it. Once you've done 4, you'll change direction. The knees bend, 4 this way, springing forward, core muscles on, lift your bottom high. 3 more. Nice. And 1 more. Downward facing dog, walking your hands toward the back of your yoga mat. Taking a half lift, in breath. And exhale, you fold. And just let yourself hang. I don't mind if you choose stillness or movement, just checking in with the back line of the body. How are my hamstrings? How's my back? How's my neck? Asking these questions of the body. And taking a couple more breaths. Wonderful. When you're ready, soft bend of the knees, rolling up through standing, arms reach up and wide. Good morning. And exhale, you fold. Walking your hands forward, your plank position. Very good. We need a little more wake up through your obliques today. So bring your feet to touch. Both hands will stay in place. Roll into the outside blade of the left foot first. Stacking that right foot on top. Good. So keeping that weight in that right hand so your hands haven't been evenly weighted. We're not inside plank. We'll be doing that later. Shift back through center and switch. Keep the weight in the left hand. Deep breaths. For 3. For 2. Back through center. Maybe the knees come to the floor. Lower slowly all the way down. Low cobra. Inhale, sternum lifts, neck is long. And exhale, lower. 2 more. Inhale, you lift, lengthen. And exhale, lower. Once more, you lift in your own time. Now stay here lengthened. Hands might hover off the floor. You from here might fly the hands down by the hips. Option to float the feet for full Shalabhasana. Option to even clasp the hands behind your back. Chest lifts, neck long for 3. Are you breathing? For 2. And well done. I know it's a tricky one. It makes us want to hold our breath. Child's pose if you wish. So you might come through that child's pose just for a couple more breaths. That's it, up to you. Downward facing dog will be your destination whenever you are ready. So I want you to take your time. We'll meet at different points. Fingers spread, neck is relaxed. Shift your gaze to the top of the mat. Utkatasana. Soften the knees, bend, step. That's it, or hop. As you reach up, lovely. So we have a wonderful position that again is resulting in flexion or contraction of your psoas. So you're noticing here, where are your arms comfy? I'm less interested in your arms. I'm more interested in what's happening in your hips and your legs. How's your breath? For 3, for 2, forward fold, sweep the hands behind your back, clasp those hands, opening up, yes, long neck, lengthen those hands away from the back. For 3, for 2, release the hands, sweep past the feet, reach up, light back bend, heart up, hips forward, and exhale, you fold down to the floor. Take a half lift, step or float back, full vinyasa. From your downward facing dog, bringing your knees to the floor, you're going to come into a tabletop position and lengthening your right leg back behind you, kneeling side plank. The right arm reaches toward the ceiling. You will need to adjust the position, yes, Sash, of your left foot, just instinctively she does it. Reaching that, yes, right arm over the ear, inhale. Exhale, sweep the arm past the face, bend that knee. Inhale, reach, lengthen. Exhale, sweep back. So you're mobilizing through the torso, through the hip, through the shoulder. So we'll lengthen the leg and then exhale, sweep back and bend. One more big circle. And then you will meet in that kneeling side plank. So we're going to create a sequence here that we will soon mirror in the next rounds, not kneeling. So this is the kneeling version. I want you to remember it just in case you want to stick with it. Inhale, the right leg floats off the floor. Keep that right foot very active and flexed. Good. For a moment here, bend that knee, take hold of the foot, just a bit of Chapasana to stretch out your quads. So you might pull your heel to your bum today because we'll need that a little later. How's your breath? Good work. Lengthen out that top leg, still active foot. Now rotate the toes to the ceiling, externally rotate the thigh. Knee toward your right armpit, step to the top of the mat, crescent lunge. Rise on up. That's it. Beautiful. Good morning. Yes, I know. Balance. So instinctively, I want you to try both. Can we straighten out that left leg first? Completely push through the back heel and notice the sensation that's happening in the front of your left hip, if any. I just want you to observe. Now we alter a little bend in that left knee. Now, if you can, navel in toward the spine and a gentle tuck of that tailbone. And hopefully what you'll notice is more sensation through your left hip flexors. Take an inhale here. Exhale, lower, hover left knee just off the floor. Inhale, slow lift. Good, Sash. Exhale, slow, lower, hover. Inhale, slow lift. Exhale, slow, lower, and hover. Deep breaths for 3, 2, knee down. Very good. Anjaneyasana, hands behind your head or any, yes, please do pad your knee. That's a great idea. So we want to now add more extension into the posture. So I'm going to give you a choice here what you do with your hands. You can either take your hands behind your head and cradle your head. You can take your hands behind your low back or even clasp your hands behind you. Yeah, you've got options. But I want you from here to open up through the chest, get some space through the left psoas. So back bends are another beautiful way to open up through the hip flexors because they open up the whole front body really. And this is a wonderful expression of that. For 3, for 2, beautiful. Hands on the floor inside your right leg. We're going to roll out through the hips. So roll onto the outside blade of that right foot and then straightening out the leg on that outside blade. Beautiful. Now rebend the knee. So Sash did that nice and slowly and now she's going to connect it all together. rolling onto the outside blade. Yes, and she's starting to circle through the hips. So ideally, I want you to be tapping into your hamstrings here as you massage open through that hip and those hamstrings. And it also is a way to really actively juice up the body rather than just holding in that lizard lunge or just holding in that Ardha Hanuman. So you're rolling through them both together. I think Sasha's got nice clickiness like me. I'm super clicky, always, with the ankle especially. All right, I want you to take one more roll, and then you're going to bend into that right knee in your own time. Beautiful. We hold into our lizard now. So whether it's palms on the floor, forearms on the floor, or even if you want to bend that left knee and take hold of that left foot for your monkey grip to stretch the quads, it really doesn't matter. So how's your breath? That's most important. This is a wonderful way to get some space in your, yes, left hip flexors, but also let that space travel down through the quadriceps. For 3, for 2. Hands to the floor, kneeling flip, palms underneath the shoulders, well and truly. Peel open your right hip, and yes, over you go. Right foot touches the floor, hips press up, and if you can, opening up through the spine for 3, 2, sweep back. You're going to keep the right leg lifted, left toes tucked, keep the right leg up. Vinyasa. You might want to bring the foot to the floor, or if you're warm enough, keep the leg lifted. It's very early for our vinyasas, so if one leg lifted is too strong, stick with both feet down. Take a big inhale here. Let it go. And inhale, 2 more. Release. Once more in. Release. Shift the gaze to the top of the mat. Utkatasana, chair pose. Very good. Yes, arms reach up. Lovely. So whatever you want to do with your arms again, remember. Now I want you from here to shift the weight more onto the balls of the feet, lift the heels off the floor. Now you have the choice to hold this seat, to breathe and find the strength of the balance. Some of you I know might prefer to now wing the knees out to the side for Bakasana. Hands come to the floor. Chest is forward, gaze is forward, lean forward and pull those heels in towards your buttocks. So your choice here, either still holding on the balls of your feet or in that arm balance for 3, 2, option to spring back, step back, down dog is your meeting place. Good work. Well done. We are going to, from here, come back through hands and knees. Lengthen our left leg to the back of the mat. Left hand reaches to ceiling. Kneeling side plank. Reach that left arm beyond the ear. Inhale. Exhale, sweep past the face and bend the knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, sweep back. Keep that motion going, that lovely rolling to wake up the shoulders, to open up that left hip a little more if possible. Very good. One more full circle. And then stacking the arms, lifting that left foot. Active left foot here. Bend the knee and bring the heel in toward your buttock. A little bit of quad love. So you're stretching out through the quadricep. Good work. Notice your breath. You're in a balanced pose, and often the tendency is to hold the breath, and we want to challenge that as much as possible. Well done. In your own time, release that leg. Active left foot. Turn the toes to the ceiling. Yes. Knee toward the armpit. Step the left foot top of the mat. Yes. High lunge, crescent lunge. Sweep the arms up. First of all, you experiment with straightening out that right leg, pushing through the back heel. And then we experiment with that little bend of the right knee. That navel in toward the spine. Yes. And scooping under through the pelvis just a little bit. Hopefully that's just got a little more space for the psoas and a little more heat to it. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower hover knee off the floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower hover. Inhale, lift. Last time. You'll exhale, lower, hover, deep breaths. That's the challenge. While you hover, keep breathing. Yes, a little bit burn. 3, 2, good morning, knee down. Well done, well done. I love it when there's a little quiver in the muscles. It was very slight. None of you on camera would have seen it, but I saw it just there for Sash because I know she does other training as well. So from here, up you come, Anjaneyasana. Any expression of extension that you want. So some of you had hands behind the head to open up chest. Some of you were opening up more through mid-thoracic, supporting the back or working the hands clasped behind your thighs. Does not matter. Breathe. That's what I care about. I'm interested in getting that space through the hip flexors. And because the place that your psoas connects to in your spine and where it threads through the organs, we're often going to feel like there's a tightness that runs almost into the belly. And that's kind of a good place to be getting that stretch. All right, from here, hands come down to the floor inside that left foot. You might need to heel toe the left foot out a little bit and rolling onto the pinky blade of the foot and then straightening out on the pinky blade and then rebend on the sole of the foot. So you're just going to make that a circular movement here, rolling around. Just noticing for you here if one side feels a little bit different to the other. And then whenever you're ready, you'll rebend that knee. Some of you will stick with just holding in your lizard lunge, maybe even forearms to the floor, whatever works. Some of you went for the monkey grip with the back leg bending and sweeping the left hand back to take hold of the right foot. How's your breath? How's your neck? Just finding if there's a little bit more room. Sasha just made a beautiful adjustment with a little drop of her ear. We often pick up tension in other places, which is just not necessary. Whenever you are ready, both hands to the floor. You might need to adjust so the wrists are under your shoulders, kneeling flip. Peel the left leg open, either hold three-legged dog or over you go with that kneeling flip. And you can work pushing your pelvis forward and away so you get more space in the front of your hips. For 3, keep breathing. For 2, sweep it back, tuck your right toes, left leg kicks to the sky, vinyasa. Your vinyasa of choice. Wonderful, downward facing dog. So we're going to work from here into another flexion of your psoas and your hip flexors, malasana. Look to the top of the mat, step or hop the feet outside the hands. Very good. So you can find different heights in your malasana, and the more you can get a little lift through your bottom. Yes, Sasha just did a great example. She dropped the bum and her spine started to curve, and then she pushed her feet into the floor and lifted her bottom another inch or 2 off the earth, and she found that she got a lot more spinal length, a lot more strength in her legs, and a lot more core work here too. Either way, your hip flexors are going to be getting a good compression here, because we're going to be moving through opening, compression, opening, compression. Take 2 more breaths. Well done. Booty to the sky. Lovely. Just stretch out for a moment. Let the head hang. Very nice. In your own time, you can roll up through standing, arms reach up and wide, big breath in, and exhale, you fold. Take your half lift. Vinyasa, you can crow, doesn't matter, come back somehow, eventually, to downward facing dog. Take your time. So we're actually going to be doing a version of side plank without the feet stacking, but with one foot in front of the other. So I want you to shift forward into your plank position. Roll onto your left hand, right arm reaches the ceiling. Yes, and that's right. Your right foot will be in front of your left foot. So we're going to, from here, inhale, reach past the ear. Exhale, bend both knees. Perfect. Inhale, stretch. And exhale. In breath and exhale. Inhale, last one. Sweep past the face. Now back into your side plank. Now remember, if this is too strong, you do the kneeling version. Lift the top leg. Externally rotate the foot. Knee to armpit. Step through, crescent lunge. Well done. I almost asked you to do the holding the foot and pulling it into your bum, but that would just be cruel, I think. All right. From here, shoulders relax. Now, we're not going to be doing the lower lifts, but I want you to experiment, just as Sasha just did, with a good position to get space in your left hip flexors. So if that means a little bend of the knee and scooping under the pelvis and belly button to spine, whatever it is, the cue that helped you. Very good. From here, we're just going to mobilize through the back a little bit. So from here, left arm forward, right arm back, a little bit of a twist. So just noticing your breath. We haven't done a lot of twist work today, just briefly in the warm-up. You can hold here or a little reverse exalt. Right hand to the thigh, left arm reaches up. Now notice for you if that is giving you more space through that left psoas. For 3, 2, warrior 2, unravel and open up. Yes, take your time to adjust your feet as needed. Right palm turns up, exalt your warrior, inhale, Trikonasana, exhale. Beautiful. So as you work your Trikonasana, we will do some unravels today. So breathe in, bend, sweep that arm down. Exhale, straighten, open up through the chest. 2 more like that. Breathe in, bend. Exhale, straighten, unravel. Last one. Inhale, you bend. Exhale, straighten, unravel, and just hold your Trikonasana for a moment and make sure your neck is content. Deep breaths. Wonderful. Unravel back through warrior 2. Skandasana into the left leg, bending to that left knee. Very good. Yeah, so we did some of this last week, didn't we? So noticing for you if that left heel wants to work to the floor or wants to lift. It's very interesting. I can see Sasha, she's got that heel down on the floor, but last week we did all that work through the calves, through the shins, and it was definitely a little more comfy. All right, when you're ready, walk the hands around to the top of your mat. Very good. Frame your right foot, tuck your left toes, 3-legged dog. Kick your right leg up and back, bend the knee, peel open the hip. Option to flip if you're feeling ready, or hold. If you're flipping, heart open. Now hips up today. That's important because we want that space in the psoas for 3, 2, sweep it back, full vinyasa of choice, or feel free to skip it if you prefer. Big breaths here if you're holding your down dog. Good work. Well done. Knees to the floor, hands and knees. Good. Just take a moment to breathe and reset. Two more breaths. Some of you are going to stick with the kneeling variation that we did first round. Some of you are going to tuck the toes back to down dog. Shift forward through plank. Roll onto the right hand, your left foot in front of your right. Inhale, reach the arm past the ear. Exhale, arms past the face, knees bend. That's it. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, sweep and bend. Inhale, reach. Exhale, back. Very good. Inhale. Exhale. In. Exhale. Beautiful. Come into that side plank position. Good. That's it. Float the left foot to the ceiling. Yes. Externally rotate the foot. Knee to armpit. Step top of the mat. Good. Crescent lunge. Well done. Shoulders relax. Big breaths. Find that space in the psoas. Yes. Maybe a little bend in the knee. Maybe a scoop under. Belly button to spine. You twist. Right arm to the front. Left arm to the back. And just noticing if that has any impact on your right hip. Option to stay there or reverse. So you might exalt here in that revolve. And just noticing how that pulls through the belly, how that pulls through the right hip for 3, 2, warrior 2. Inhale, exalt your warrior with that knee nice and bent. The legs straightens, Trikonasana position, reach and tip. 3 unravels, breathe in, bend, sweep down. Exhale, you open. Breathe in. Exhale. Once more. And open. Now find that unravel, that comfy spot for your neck, wherever it is. So just getting that space in the hamstrings. Unravel back through warrior 2. It is almost just a transition to Skandasana into the right leg. Very good. Doesn't matter if heels on or off the floor on that right leg. Your left toes very active to keep you comfy there. For 3, for 2. Walk the hands to the top of the mat. Frame that left foot, 3-legged dog. Plant the palms, peel that left hip open, bend the knee. Option to flip. Hips high, that's the key today. Opening up through the front of the pelvis for 3, 2, and sweep back. Vinyasa is optional. Take your time. Your choice here, whether you want to take child's pose, dolphin, down dog, your choice. Or even heart melting pose if you want some more opening and expression through your spine, a bit of back bend. So I want you to just choose what feels like a good place to take a reset after that active flow. So we have a little bit more active work to go. We are going to be working into a little bit of a transition into some splits. So I want Sash, if possible, to do a bit of a demo for us of 2 different versions. So we're going to do both from side plank, this time with the foot stacking on top of the other foot. Some of you would prefer to do it from kneeling, and that's fab, but I'm going to get Sash to do both versions from proper plank. So we'll do, I'm sorry, Sash, you're going to end up doing the left side a couple of times. Let's come to down dog. So if you need the demo, feet together. Very good. Shift forward through your plank. Roll into the outside blade of your left foot. Stack right foot on top. Very good. So from here, that right leg lifts to the ceiling. Toes turn up to the ceiling. Knee bends, either taking hold of knee or taking hold of toes. Yeah, she's got the toes. You might extend foot to the ceiling, sweep the foot through. Whew, splits. Well done. Good morning. Okay. So before she settles into the splits, we're going to get her to do the other side. So I'm going to get you to place your hands at the other end of the mat, Sash, so you get to do your second side. I realized how to fix that. Okay, so the other option is that you can do it from your knees, or Sash is going to take hold of the knee and make it a softer transition, basically. So from here, lifting that left leg, knee bends. Yep, turn the toes up. Knee bends, take hold of the knee, step through. That's it, back knee down. So you can see that that's not quite as intense, and you can always do it in kneeling, same thing. All right, Sash, everybody, I'm going to cue you all, and we're all going to do it together if you were watching the demo. So you're going to stay on your right side if you're still there. Okay, so inhale, shift forward through plank, both feet together. Now roll into the left hand. Now you do however you want to do it, Sash. The right leg will lift in your own time. The toes will turn out. Knee toward the chest. You might hold knee, you might hold toes, extend or step. Yes, good. All right. Now we're in the splits position, or you can do half split, because we haven't done really that half split today. We rolled through it earlier. Now, as you can see, Sash, like myself, has space between her hips and the floor. So what I would suggest, I'm going to grab them for you, Sash, is that you either support yourself using your block underneath your thigh. That's one way. Or I can also pop blocks underneath hands. So if you have anything to keep you lifted, the reason why I mention this is because in our breathing at the start of the practice, I mentioned that if this posture is overstretched, overworked, then you'll actually find you send a stress signal to the brain. So just like I said earlier with the tiger running toward you, things contract, you've got to run. It's possible to, when you overwork this muscle, overstretch this muscle, to send stress signals to the brain in the reverse direction. So you want to really be in a place where you're not pushing, you're not trembling. And I love being supported because it means that that quiver isn't there so much. Deep breaths. And just a couple more breaths here. So whenever you are ready, I want you to take your time, maybe move the props to the side. Yeah, you might want to wiggle that foot in. It doesn't have to be elegant. I want you to take your time to either come back through hands and knees or down dog and just take a reset and just observe. Maybe you can observe one side feels a little bit different to the other. We are going to move onto our left side. So you're going to bring your feet to touch, roll into your plank position, rolling onto your right hand, left arm reaches to ceiling, left leg lifts, toes turn out, knee to chest, either hold the knee or hold the foot, sweep it through, either splits or half splits, your variation. So you might end up like Sashi's in the semi-splits. So she's almost getting down to the full splits, but she just needs a bit more support and a bit more time to ease those muscles. And they do over time release. Sasha and I were just joking at the start of class because, you know, without even warming up, I said, oh, this is what we're going to do today. And she says, you always say things like you're not really a splits person, and yet you manage to get closer. And I think it's because my identity was 10 years ago when I started practice, I was nowhere near these postures. And just over time, it's gradual chipping away, they start to open. So just noticing if there is any stress or push or strain, I want you to back it off a little bit. The splits should be interesting, but never overwhelming. So if you're in overwhelm, you've gone too far. Take one more big breath. Let it out. Good work. Props off to the side. You'll take your time to wiggle that foot in. Take your time. Drag it in if you can. And hands and knees, down dog or three-legged dog, whatever it is that works for you. Take a moment. From here, we are going to be working into some traditional camel. And yes, if you want to take a flow or stretch out down dog, please do. So traditional camel is a posture that can be seen as a back bend, but I really love to see it as also an opening for the psoas. So bringing your knees to the floor and slowly coming up, rising up. Yeah, nice idea to pad the knees. So we can perhaps support the low back. Today, can we focus less on how far we go back in the back bend and instead how far forward we press our pelvis? So the pelvis pressing forward, a pull up through the abdominals, a pull up through the sternum to the ceiling, and you might take a little back bend or you can go deeper, but I want you to find and focus on how are the front of my hips feeling? Am I getting some pull through the hips, through the abdominals? Am I breathing? That's the hard part. For 3, for 2. Well done. Back to a neutral spine. Sit back upon your heels and just take a moment. So we are going to be working all downhill from here, more stretching and much gentler than the splits stretching. So you're going to be using your blocks, books, whatever it is you have, or if you want to use your big fat rolled up blanket or bolster instead, you can use that. We're going to be moving into supine bridge or perhaps pontoon. So I want you to come around onto your back, take all the time you need. And from here, you're going to bend your knees, soles of the foot into the feet, into the floor, and press them into the earth to lift your bottom to the ceiling. And we're going to slide some props under to support us today. So whether that's 1 block or 2 blocks, for me, Sasha, I like the height of 2 blocks stacked on each other. Yep, that's it, one on top of the other. But I just want you to find a height that feels good underneath your sacrum so that you can get a bit of lift. Some of you will prefer something soft, like a big rolled up blanket or bolster. Some of you will be comfortable with something firm. And Sash, if you'd like a bolster at any time, just give me the eye and I'll give it. So from here, you can keep the knees bent, or we're lengthening both legs out toward the top of the mat. Yeah, and just finding you might need to adjust your prop or just get that right position now the legs have lengthened out. So we've done a lot of really obvious stretching for the psoas so far in the practice, very unsubtle. This one for some of us is far more subtle. So we'll find that we're just getting that space through the front of the hips. Would you like a bolster, Sash? No. So this space through the front of the hips is a way that's quite a lot more passive. If it was a yin practice, we'd hold here for a good 5 minutes and we'd find that those muscles and the fascia would really start to just ease off a bit. So the nervous system would also respond by letting those muscles let go. You have the option to stay here or to bend your right knee in towards your chest and hug that right knee in either by holding the thigh or holding the shin. And hopefully this will enhance the stretch through the front of your left hip. And just notice your breathing. We've done a very, we had a very nice way to start the practice with not as much doing. And then we did a lot of do, change, make the pose. And now we're really in a place where we're letting the pose do itself. There's not much you have to do here, just letting that space come into the muscles. The next shape is a figure 4 with the bottom elevated. And if the bottom elevated does not work for you, that's okay. Right ankle hooks above the left knee. And from here, you might leave the legs there or lift the left foot off the floor and bring those legs in toward you. Yeah, so you might need to adjust props and such. By elevating the hips, it just gives you, yes, a little more space through the spine and the back as well. But for some of us, it gives us a little bit more opening. So just noticing your breath. What's the response of these muscles to the stretch? Two more breaths. And then when you're ready, unravel the legs, stretching perhaps both legs out again, or even just having both knees bent with the soles of the feet on the floor. Just taking a moment to observe if there's any difference between left and right. And then we are going to bend the left knee in toward the chest. Hug that left leg in any capacity, maybe feeling more space down the front of that right hip. Figure 4, left ankle hooks above the right knee, taking hold of the right thigh. And yeah, adjust if you need the support. Just noticing here if your breath has started to become more easeful. Hopefully it has. toward the end of the practice, there's no need to bring effort into that breath. It can be just a gentle pranayama, gentle breath control. One more big breath. Let it go. And whenever you're ready, you'll slowly unravel the legs, bring the feet to the floor. You might take a moment just to reset still with the prop underneath you. And then whenever you're ready, you might press the feet into the floor, slowly lift the pelvis to remove those props, and just releasing the back down to the earth. We might finish off just with a brief spinal twist if you wish. It is optional. So any spinal twist, I know you're most of your experience of the practice and you'll choose whatever is instinctive. I'd probably choose the one that Sasha chose too, just with the knees coming in and one leg on top of the other. That's perfect. And one more breath here. Long in breath. And release. And then the legs come back through the center and switch over to the other side. Just noticing how the spine is responding. So for some of you, when we do come back to center, you might choose to take a brief happy baby or just a hug of the knees. For some of you, I know that your shoulder stand feels good at the end of your practice and you're very welcome to go there. I won't guide you through that sequence, but it might feel like it's a nice thing to add in after the practice we've done today. So whenever you're ready, you can bring the legs back through center and just go where feels good for you. Whether that's your hug of knees, happy baby, shoulder stand, doesn't matter. If you prefer to go back into some full wheel and really get that opening through the front body, you can. You're just going to do whatever feels good for your body. And then whenever you're ready, Shavasana is awaiting. Making sure you're comfy, making sure you're warm. Some of you are still working through your shoulder stand, no problems. Maybe taking another 3 to 5 breaths in your sequence. For those of us who have settled down, you might want to come with me for a little bit of cleansing breath to release any residual tension. Take an inhale. Let go through the mouth. Inhale. Sigh out. Once more. Release. And then let your body soften. Shavasana. So the psoas, the muscle we focused on today, the psoas has often been described, and I think it was dubbed by a yoga teacher as the muscle of the soul. That's a very big title, but the muscle of the soul, because it is the deepest muscle in the human body and it runs through organ. It is a muscle that controls our prime movement, our ability to even lift our legs and walk or do anything, sit. But it is also, on a deeper level, a muscle that is intrinsically related to our nervous system and our sense of well-being. by finding space in these muscles, these psoas muscles, these hip flexors, we really do alter the state of our nervous system and our mind. We feel taller and more at peace with ourselves. I want you in your own time. You can decide to stay, maybe close the screen if you prefer, or you can bring in your own time that little bit of movement into your fingers, into your toes. Maybe moving your feet a little bit as well. And then whenever you are ready, you might roll over onto that right hand side. And slowly come up to seat. And just allow your shoulders to relax, your hands to relax. And once more, 3 cleansing breaths, no pushing of the breath out, just let it fall. Inhale. 2 more in. Last one. Namaste.